Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Fallout Episode 15. It's One Big Gerfuffle. I'm Rick McVick, and with us tonight is Shalene.
Hello.
And Vendertron.
Welcome, sir or madam.
How are you two doing tonight, this lovely Friday night?
Well, I mean, we made it. We're here. We did it, guys.
We made it.
We did it!
Shalene and I, we came screeching around the corner in the Ford Fiesta and racing up the driveway.
Drift.
Yeah.
Them 4 cylinders are cranking out a winding sound.
Yeah. Shalene said, "You hop out and get the PC
like
going."
Cylinders, actually.
Is it you have a 3-cylinder?
turbo engine.
It's got like a lawnmower motor in there.
It's practically a road legal go-kart. I mean, come on.
One of my favorite periods in car history was when like the Fast and the Furious movies were coming out, and you had those dudes in Hondas that just had the little fart can on the back, and they're like, and they're going like 20 miles an hour in like first gear.
Yeah. So Shalene rolled up to the house. She said, "Bender, hop out, start the PC. I'm going to park the car." So I hopped out of the car. I ran into the house, past grandma, past mom, hit the button on the PC, and here we are.
Nothing but bobby pins flowing through the air as you sped off.
Guys. And Shalene burst through the front door with a cloud of dust behind her.
Kool-Aid Man through the wall.
Well, I am glad that the two of you made it there somehow, because boy, we have a show for you tonight. And let's start it off with just telling you guys how you can help our show out without giving us any money. Give us money. What you can do is share us on your social media, because that helps out a ton. You can send us emails like the lovely ones we have tonight and the ones that we got in today already. You can like, subscribe, and retweet our thingy-bobs whenever we tweet or post on Facebook. And you can tell your friends about us. Anybody that likes Fallout, you can just let them know, hey, there's this awesome podcast. If you were a fan of one of the old podcasts that is no more, check out this one, That Fallout Show. Host us on Twitch. We love that. And any other way that you can spread the good word of That Fallout Show. Post about us on Reddit. Anything like that. It would really, really mean a lot to us. And tonight, the reason it means a lot to us is because we do all of this for you guys. And here's a little taste of what's coming tonight. We do.
I thought we did it for ourselves because it's fun.
Shh. Quiet.
Not supposed to tell them.
Quiet on the set. Would you guys pay? All right, hold on a sec. Folks at home, hold on a minute. Guys, listen, look, all right. Read the teleprompter.
Is this like an aside?
Yes, this is an aside. If I had a spotlight, I would. If I had a spotlight. Guys, read the teleprompter. They don't know that this is scripted like this. They think it's freeform. Right. Read the teleprompter. I mean, they don't know. Okay? All right. Shalene, stick to the script. Stick to the script that NBC gave us, okay? All right. Anyway, so tonight...
Not sponsored by NBC.
I wish. No, I don't wish. Tonight, we have news, gameplay, a recap of some weird challenge we had at some point, lore, which was, by the way, this is the first of our getting on the ball, so to speak. Lovely Gerfuffle donated so much when we did our charity stream for Carrie. And
I was afraid he wasn't going to be able to afford college.
I know, right? Well, he pulled out all the stops. He won the award where he could write a segment of either GameStacker or That Fallout Show, and he chose to write a lore segment for this show. So our lore tonight is brought to you by Gerfuffleson. So hopefully he's in the chat. If not, sorry, buddy. Anyway, after that, we have Weapon of the Week and some emails. But before all that, we have some 5-star review shout-outs. We do! Vendor, take it away.
5-star review shout-outs from the U.S. We have... so guys, we don't typically read out the full reviews on the show, but we decided that we want to read this one out. So...
Ooh, I'm excited.
This one is really heartwarming. It comes from Dancing Baptist, and they write... I know, it's a great username, right? They write, "I recently started the podcast and I'm still way behind, but it's one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, just as endearing as the Fallout talk is the genuine desire to help a fellow wastelander. My wife has a mild version of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, the same condition as Carrie. And so seeing the podcast rally around her was amazing. Thank you so much for entertaining me during work and for supporting Carrie. So thank you for those kind words. Dancing Baptist. Oh, man, why didn't I think of that? It's brilliant. We also have another 5-star review shout out from Great Britain. Hifindund.
That's like the dragon language from Skyrim.
They always give me the hard ones.
It's like based off Dutch, where it's all like.
There goes all our Dutch listeners, Rick. Thanks a lot.
And our British listeners. Carrie, please don't leave us.
Thank goodness we still have Turkmenistan.
And what was the other one? Lithuania?
Yeah.
Lusitania?
We had an actual listener from Latvia. We had a review from Latvia. That was
well. If you would like to leave us a 5-star review shout out, all you got to do is go to iTunes and search We Just Love Games, either GameStack or that Fallout show, and you can leave us a 5-star review shout out and leave us a little message with it. If you would like, we will read that out on the show. We've also got some new people coming into the community that we want to acknowledge. We like to start the show by listing off the new people that are coming into the Discord. And so since our last show, we've got Blitzgreg93.
I love that name.
It's a really good username.
Yeah. We also have Hilgendorf.
The German contingent is coming out.
Yeah. David, he does it. Welcome to the community. Celtic 999. I'm sure we have a Celtic 991 in the community as well, or something Celtic with numbers behind it. Droll Shanka, welcome also to the Discord community. Billy Bob, Cosnix, Scott, son of Archie, or son O Archie, welcome. And also Dodongo Hunter, maybe the Dodongo HO baby. So welcome to the community, guys. If you would like to get in touch with us and get access to the Discord community, all you got to do is send us a message on Twitter or any of the other social media platforms. And a little tip about getting onto the Discord. If you're on the Discord, you're automatically entered to win or to be chosen to win to get when we do giveaways on the show.
Awesome.
So make sure that you get that Discord link.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And moving right along. So little backstory real quick. I thought I would be doing due diligence today by helping writing the news and starting the show notes. And I did all this stuff, and then I messaged all proudly in the Discord, Shalene, I have started the news. Feel free to add anything you'd like. And she's like, I already did that like 3 days ago.
Yeah. He was writing a whole set of show notes.
So what I had done was I had archived tonight's show notes and started my own. Regardless, we are now ahead in writing, which is awesome. And
I mean, really, that was your plan all along.
Yes,
you just
it was
wanted to get a head start. Yeah.
It was
good planning, Rick. Good planning.
But because I actually did my due diligence and looked at some of the news, it's kind of grim. So let's go ahead and listen to that famous, wonderful, comforting voice of Mr. New Vegas.
If you like news, you're gonna love our next segment.
What happened in the world of Fallout, Shalene?
Man, I just love Mr. New Vegas. He's the best.
Isn't he great?
So good.
He's so good.
Well, in the world of Fallout, we got a patch for Fallout 76.
Patch.
A patch. It was a patch. Patch number 5.
Oh, the one. What was it like?
Patches.
Last month.
It was January the 29th. This patch.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Last week's patch, and let's talk about this patch.
Let's do, because is this the Bobby Pin fiasco?
It is. Yeah, it is. So let's just roll through some of the patch notes first before we get into the more controversial part of the discussion.
Swamp Man put patch in quotes in the chat, and
well, you know, it was a patch. That is factually true. Performance, several stability improvements were implemented, and they changed some of the balance, and this was one of the bigger things that they did. The damage bonuses provided by each rank of the Demolition Expert perk were reduced from 20, 40, 60, 80, 100% to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% to match other weapon perk damage bonuses. This was a huge problem, this nerf, for a lot of people.
It broke builds.
Yeah, it really did.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of high-level players had really built their characters around this perk, so it was a problem. And we had, what else? Weapons. The explosive legendary mod damage bonus was reduced from 100% to 20% of the base weapon damage. And the two-shot legendary effect was reduced from 100% to 25% of base weapon damage, which I thought was like a huge, huge nerf. Like, that seems excessive to me. What's the point of the two-shot if it's not providing two shots, you know?
I just want to interrupt you for a moment. Shalene, our lovely moderator in the chat, Archon, says that your voice is a little bit low.
Okay, shall I just increase my gain a bit?
There it goes.
Also, what is Hoth? Can you tell me on Hoth? What's Hoth?
I am disappointed, Vendor.
I don't know.
It's the snow planet in Empire Strikes Back, so episode 5 of Star Wars.
Remarked on I'm frozen. It's like been like in the -40s. Yes, that is also -40 Fahrenheit. But we have a special guest with us today,
which the mic is perfectly placed.
Yes.
For those of you who,
a few things to say.
For those of you who are listening to the podcast, Vendor's background is the scene from The Shining where Jack Nicholson is frozen and the microphone is perfectly in front of his mouth.
Yeah,
really
he freezes in the maze and they find him the next morning.
But Hoth is the snow planet with the giant walking camels in the beginning of episode 5 Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, when they go and they shoot the shield generators, and you know, and I thought they smelled bad on the outside. No?
Back to you, Shalene.
Thank you for that thrilling reenactment, Rick.
Well, that was a reenactment from the Family Guy version, but anyways.
Weapons, flamers, cryolators, plasma weapons, and laser weapons no longer spawn with the explosive legendary mod. And there's a little dev note with this one. The explosive mod causes weapons to fire bullets that are explosive. The weapons listed above don't fire bullets, so we've temporarily removed the ability for them to spawn with that mod applied, so that we can make adjustments.
I like how the cryolator had that at one point.
It's pretty funny.
Explosive frozen gun.
The cryolator at the start there was so OP.
It really was.
It was so good.
It really was. Scrapping, loose weapon, and armor mods are now protected from auto-scrapping when crafting. They can still be scrapped manually, however. An owned tag will appear next to turrets that a player has built in their camp or workshop. Carry weight is now capped to an absolute limit of 1,500 pounds over the character's current maximum carry weight. For example, if your carry weight is 210 pounds, then your maximum limit is 1,710 pounds. Characters will be unable to exceed this weight limit moving forward. And this is about server stability, the reason that they did this. They said that servers were performing poorly when there are too many items in the game world. And this also will help to regulate the game economy. So they are still looking at increasing the stash size more in the future.
Well, I look forward to that. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bender.
I was just gonna say, even though they upped it to 600, it's still not enough for me.
Yeah, it's never gonna be enough. Like it's just Fallout Hoarders. It's never gonna be enough. Ever.
Yep.
Cap stashes have been turned into containers, so those will reset and they will be instanced going forward instead of just being out there in the world.
I'm surprised that the cap stashes weren't actually in the little tins like they were before.
They are in the little tins, or they were in the little tins previously. But you would pick up the tin like it was an item containing caps. It wasn't a tin that you opened, got the caps out.
Oh,
if there was a cap stash in the room and the three of us walked in, only one of us is leaving with that cap stash.
Oh, I'm killing
Right.
both of you to get the cat. I'm gonna be wanted.
Dead or alive. I was just listening to Journey's Escape, and that song "Wanted" was on.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a non-issue now. So
Oh,
Well,
okay. Never mind.
he doesn't have to kill anyone.
And this was my favorite. When viewing a plan or recipe in a menu, a known tag will now appear next to the names of the recipes and plans that the player has already learned.
That
Golf
is
clap.
like
Golf clap.
probably my favorite change so far.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Because the recipes weigh,
Mm-hmm.
They
right?
do.
And then you're like reading all of these ones, and then you never throw away the ones that you've already read because you just don't read them, and like, ugh.
Yeah.
Recipes and plans in vendor inventories are no longer randomized and can be reliably sourced from those vendors. So the appearance of plans and recipes in vendor inventories is based on player level and will show up when the proper level has been reached. So that's a big change as well. As for PvP, the Hunter Hunted radio station, a server-wide message will now appear when a player joins the Hunter Hunted queue. They did some quest changes. I'm not going to really go through those. They were just some reductions in XP awarded and some changes in terms of quest rewards. What you doing there, buddy?
Posting a link in Twitch, but it went weird.
Wow.
Stop fiddling.
Wow.
It's supposed to be behind the scenes.
Is that like the that Fallout show equivalent of the big flashing sign at the Oscars that says "Move it along"? Move
Yeah.
it along.
Now that my pacemaker has kicked in to return my heart back to its regular beating rhythm,
Gracious.
on this thesis of patch notes that we have here.
Yeah, we're not going to go through all the rest of this. It's a huge. Yeah, it's enormous. This is like the Dead Sea Scrolls, you guys. Can
we just talk about the challenges though? They've noted some things about the challenges. So they say collecting holotape games, Nuka Tapper sub challenge can now be completed by playing the Nuka Tapper holotape game, which is great because we want to bring back that leaderboard. Yeah. What?
Of course. We need that back.
And my favorite, the formal wear challenge. Pantsuits and short suits now correctly count as formal wear.
I didn't realize that short suits counted as formal wear.
Are you joking? Is that really on there?
That's really on there.
I mean, if I showed up to, my friends and loved ones' formal events in a short suit, I think there'd be a problem.
Well, like, when you go to like when I was at Wimbledon, I was wearing like dress shorts and a dress shirt. So I guess dress shorts, literally dress shorts.
Yeah, like the pink polo and like the white khaki
with
shorts,
the sweater, and it's tied over, and you got the hat and stuff.
The speary shoes.
Yeah.
I dress like I own a yacht, but I really don't.
Pims. Anyways, so I just wanted to address that, address that.
That's a good one.
Dress shorts.
Wow. So let's talk. Are you done? Were there any other things you wanted to highlight from the patch notes?
No, just that.
Okay. Then let's roll on to the patch problems.
Uh-oh.
Because there were some problems. So the bobby pins used to weigh a tenth of a pound, right? We talked about that on this here podcast.
Yeah.
And they reduced the weight of bobby pins to a 1/100th of a pound, which is much more reasonable.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were all kind of waiting for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And after patch 5, they reverted to weighing a 1/10 of a pound. So
Oops.
They apparently rolled it back somehow to an earlier version of the game or
Just
something.
kidding.
I'm not sure how this happened. And people got really upset about some of these nerfs. It was a huge problem because people invested heavily in some of these skills that were nerfed and weapons and items, and they don't really have a way now to respect their character. So it's a problem. It's a problem. I understand why these people are frustrated.
Yeah.
But
well,
it wasn't something that really affected me at all.
Well, well, the thing is, generally, I mean, coming from the Guild Wars community, character nerfs happen constantly. You know, like one patch will come out and it's like, you know, anyone who runs as a chrono, or I think that's what they were called, chronos, does incredible DPS damage. Incredible. And they're like, that's what we're main, you know, that's meta for all of the raids and stuff like that. It's meta. And then like a nerf comes out and it's all of a sudden they get nerfed down so much, then it's like, oh, well, you know, Reapers are now meta. Oh, great. So that's the now meta thing. And like it constantly changes. Like ANET nerfs character builds constantly, you know. They rebalance everything, respec stuff. So it's not uncommon for things like this to get nerfed. Where this differs is that, and you can't really respec in Guild Wars either. You just kind of have to deal with it, or start working and finding other combinations of your build that work. But I mean, you can respec kind of like how you can respec perk cards. You can respec your moves and things like that. But yeah. Anyway. The difference is with Guild Wars, you can unlock everything. So you can just respec on the fly, and it doesn't really matter. But if your skills get nerfed, there's nothing you can do to change that. I mean, if the damage goes down, the damage goes down no matter what you do. You're just nerfed.
Right.
Well, with the Fallout community, and the thing that I think, and I have a little discussion tab after the news that I want to talk about, but this kind of ties in with what I want to talk about. I don't think they really realized. I mean, they're running on this like duality mindset here, where it's like multiplayer online game versus a Fallout game, and they're not really realizing, or I guess they don't realize what voice that they should focus on. And Fallout players never had anything nerfed before. We're not used to that, right? But coming from like a Guild Wars thing or like an MMO player, like, oh, it's okay. All right, I got nerfed. I got to figure out a new build. It's a weird duality they're working in right here.
Yeah, we never really had to worry about it because we were never playing with other people.
No, and like, why would they patch damage? Unless it was crazy. Like a glitch or something.
Yeah.
Well, there we are then.
So, Inside the Vault, let's talk about the latest Inside the Vault's post. Of course, Bethesda posts these every week to sort of give us a little update into the state of the game, basically.
Oh, this. Ugh.
I know.
It's so...
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
It's okay. It's going to be all right, Rick. It's going to be all right.
Just calm down.
His face is all red. Audio listeners, yeah, he's visibly upset over there on the left-hand side of the screen.
This is Inside the Vault. This is their planned upcoming patches and all the stuff that they're fixing and all the stuff that they're going to introduce, and this is what they give us.
Yeah. So what they gave us is upcoming Scorch Beast changes. They have planned to adjust the Sonic Scream attack frequency. One of the most common feedback that they have received about the Scorch Beasts is that they're using the Sonic Scream too frequently. So in patch 6, they are planning to increase the timer between screams to a minimum of 10 seconds for Scorch Beast and the Scorch Beast Queen.
Yeah.
They're also planning to adjust Scorch Beast's Queen loot to fix a bug that affects the Scorch Beast Queen's loot, which sometimes results in receiving the same plan as after multiple kills. So
yeah,
they need for her to be dropping a wider variety of plans.
There's one thing that we should There's one thing we should point out here is that, and I want to quote Bethesda on this, they say, "We know that some of you have shared lots of thoughts with us on Scorch Beast fights in general, and we're discussing your feedback internally to see where we can make potential balance, blah, 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 blah."
Mm-hmm.
They're listening to you. One of the most common points of feedback we receive, and I quote, about Scorch Beast, they're listening. That's an important thing. They may not be making changes that we like, but at least they're listening to the community.
But
yeah,
here's the thing though. Like that's you say that they're listening, but this is the next patch. It has 2 things on it, and it's an attack cooldown and an item and a drop table. Like that's it.
Well, I'm sure the patch is going to contain more than that.
But the whole point of Inside the Vault was for them to be transparent about what the patch is going to contain. And so far, the only thing this patch is going to contain is 2 things, and they're quite minimal. I bet you that the cooldown is a number variable that they just change. Like
maybe they just don't know.
This is supposed to be the transparency, and this is what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where the transparency like started out super good, like with the first Inside the Vault was so detailed. Even the last one was so detailed. And this one's like cooldown and item drop table.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't get it. And it's fine. I mean, this stuff needs to be addressed, and I do appreciate that they're asking for more creature feedback, but it's like there's so much that could be fixed. I mean,
yeah, is that really what matters to people right now? Yeah.
It does a little, but
honestly, I'm not going to care a ton about any of these changes until I can play for 2 hours without getting kicked. That's, you know what I mean? That's when we can worry about creatures and Scorch Beasts and you know,
yeah,
these are all important things, but I just want the game to work.
Yeah.
I just want to play.
I would like to not have it be a slideshow when I play.
And like, I would like to point out, okay, Astroneer just officially launched. That game was in early access for like nearly 2 years.
Yes, it was.
I think that we should take a step back and actually consider Fallout 76 to still be in early access.
Oh yeah, it was in my opinion a big mistake for them to consider it an official
totally
release.
Yeah. So
totally.
But,
I mean, technically, if they're having these kinds of problems with it, it's not even close to official release yet. But good job, guys! You made an extra $1 billion. That's good.
So moving along, they want creature feedback is the next thing that they mention in this Inside the Vault update. Head to the Fallout 76 forums to answer the following questions. Which enemies are currently your favorites to fight? Why? Which enemies do you currently dislike encountering? Why? What makes an encounter with an enemy or creature fun or intriguing to you? What types of enemies would you like to see added to Fallout 76 in the future? Why? Other than legendary items, what types of loot help a fight feel rewarding to you? Would you like to see more challenging enemies added in the future that may require multiple players or a team to defeat? Why? And they discuss how important this kind of feedback is and where you can provide that feedback. And they finish off this very short Inside the Vault update by basically showing you that they have spotlighted in the Atom Shop rest and relaxation. If you sleep to earn the well-rested buff, it lasts 50% longer. And in the Atom Store, they've added a bunch of beds and a tracksuit and some stuff like that. So
it's a survey, and the survey is basically, help us write the game. We're out of ideas. That's what it sounds like to me.
That last question that you posed, would you like to see more challenging enemies added in future that may require multiple players or a team? Is it not already like that?
No, because there's no endgame content, really. You get the Scorch Beast and the Scorch Beast Queen, and then, like, that's kind of it. There's no raids. There's no dungeon crawling. You know.
Well, I don't know about you, but there's been a lot of things that I've encountered that I definitely could not have done by myself.
But you're not level 50 yet.
Well, that's true.
You know, you don't have like power armor for the end. You have that crazy machine gun, but that machine gun's not even a level 50 machine gun.
That was a really cool gun.
One of the biggest complaints I've heard is once people kind of max their characters out, there's nothing left for them to do that isn't easy. And what typically happens in these types of games is there's dungeons and raids that require like 10 people to complete, and they're huge and they're long. And it's basically like the small guys are equivalent to Scorch Beasts, like on that level. So that's been the biggest in the Reddit community. That's all people are saying is there's no endgame content, which leads you to the next tidbit.
Yes, they actually have mentioned. So we talked on the last episode about the PvP survival mode that is upcoming. And a lot of people responded to this announcement with, who asked for that? We don't want that. Give us more PvE content. And Bethesda came back and made a post on Reddit to tell you that there is some more PvE content on the way alongside this survival mode. The quote is, "We're also seeing the thoughts being shared by those of you who'd like to see more PvE content. And while I can't spoil any details just yet, I will say that survival mode won't be the only new content coming to Fallout 76 in March. So stay tuned." My heart goes out to the people running PR for Bethesda. Like, really, my heart goes out to them. I feel like we should all just like send them a bottle of booze or something to help them survive.
Here's some Nuka Dark.
My heart goes out to Bethesda's PR team. They're undergoing a lot of abuse right now.
And it's not their fault.
There are absolutely justifiable reasons for people to be upset surrounding the launch of this game. But, you know, people are reacting in a way that is much bigger than entirely necessary, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. So, anyway.
We knew this was going to happen, though.
Did we?
RIP Bethesda's PR guys.
We knew the community was going to act this way, Rick. We did.
Did we?
True.
Did we really?
If the game would have worked, I was talking to someone about this before. If the game would have worked, the bugs and stuff, it would have been like every other Fallout game that released. The game is great, and you can overlook the bugs. It's just the bugs. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can't complete the quest, go off and do something else. But with everything else happening on top of the bugs, on top of this, on top of that, on top of this thing.
And then there were all the store issues, with like the canvas bag and leaking the personal information.
I would have never.
Well, I certainly don't disagree with you in that everything that's happening is bad.
I would have. Yeah, I would have never guessed.
I definitely made the point in an earlier show that if the game had gone perfect, people still would have found something wrong with it to complain about.
I absolutely agree with that as well.
Well, that's everything, though.
No, but that's my whole point.
But I think for this game in particular,
that's what it is, right?
Because it was this multiplayer game, and it is very different than anything that's come before in the franchise. I think people were looking for a reason to crucify it, and I think they needed to they needed to up their game in terms of what they were outputting to sort of counteract that, in my opinion. Anyway, let's move on to something fun, huh? Let's have a nice fun conversation.
I loved this video.
Yes, this was a great video.
So good.
Obsidian put out a video. It was, what was it, 131 thing?
It was
questions?
It was Game Informer.
Yes.
Game Informer seems to have right now this exclusiveness to the Outer Worlds. Like no other outlet kind of has their exclusivity. And so yeah, they posted this rapid fire 131 question interview.
So it was an interview with Tim Kaine and Leonard Boyarsky, who of course worked on the first two Fallout games. And the questions were mostly about the Outer Worlds. There were a few Fallout questions.
A lot of Bethesda shade.
There was quite a bit of Bethesda shade. It was a really great video, though. I encourage you to seek it out and watch it. But they mentioned they were asked why blue and yellow were chosen for the vault suits. And in honor of this news story, I wore my vault suit. Yes, my little tracksuit.
It's not leather with gold trim.
No, it's
not the Russian edition.
No, but it is very comfy. But anyways, they were asked why blue and yellow were chosen, and the answer was those were the last two colors remaining out of the color choices.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The quote here. There were 2 colors he wasn't using and a very limited palette that I had supplied, Kane said. So I said, if you don't use them, I'll delete them. And that's how the Vault Suits gamers have come to know and love over the years became blue and yellow. One can only imagine what other colors Kane had in mind if Boyarsky chose to pass on the 2 that were left.
Can you imagine a world where Vault Suits were like magenta?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think that's just such a funny thing that this blue and yellow, Vault-Tec blue and yellow is iconic. It's
Oh yeah.
iconic. And it's sort of a coincidence. It's just a happy little accident.
It is. Yeah.
The amount of happy little accidents that happen in the world that create iconic things is absolutely astounding. Actually, I mean, just some of the one of the most famous slow Nirvana songs happened because Kurt Cobain laid in the control room on his back and just started singing the song and playing acoustic. And Butch Vig was like, "Mic him in the control room," and he's just laying on the floor, and they like put a mic over his face, and that's how you hear it on the Nevermind record. And so, yeah, it almost kind of doesn't surprise me, but it does surprise me that it was like something so iconic as the blue and yellow was just a happenstance.
Well, that's where we got the name We Just Love Games.
That's true. It was just
I guess it was, wasn't
Because
it?
the 3 of us had been sitting here for hours, racking our brains, trying to find a name for the network. And Rick's like, well, I mean, we might as well just call it We Just Love Games. I mean, we just love games, right? And Shalene's like, that's it. So, yeah.
Did we ever tell anyone the names that we didn't pick or we had thought of?
No.
But we did archive the list, and we were going to have a feature segment on a future show
Should
about
do that.
We should definitely look back through those. I bet we'll be super embarrassed about some of the things that we almost named our podcast.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just gonna tuck those names into a bag.
Ow.
Unfortunately, it's
Ow.
not a canvas
Ow.
bag.
My heart hurts.
I'm sorry. I tried. I'm bad at this. I used to be good at this. The canvas bag claim window has been extended to March the 1st. So if you ordered the helmet edition of Fallout 76 and would like to have your crummy nylon bag replaced with a fancy canvas bag as advertised, the original window to submit a claim was through the end of January, but they've extended that to March 1st. So visit the Bethesda support website to submit a ticket to claim your canvas bag. I did that. I submitted my ticket and received a confirmation. And this morning they sent me 500 atoms. So I'm interested to see if they're going to apply those to my PC account or my Xbox account.
Both.
500 atoms.
Both.
Probably not.
No. I have something
That's
to
all
add.
I've got.
Okay,
That's it.
I've
That's
got
all I
something to add. I did some when I was writing the show notes that are no more. I found what?
Oh, man.
The show notes to come.
Oh,
The show
right,
notes
yes.
to come.
Well, I found some news that I thought was interesting. It was kind of sad. Germany is giving away Fallout 76 copies. GameStops in Germany are giving away Fallout 76 copies. If you buy a brand new PlayStation 4 or Xbox One controller, they're just throwing a copy of Fallout 76 in. And certain, I think, Walmarts, but certain outlets are throwing free copies of Fallout 76 in with the Fallout 76 Xbox One bundles. So you get Fallout 76 in the Xbox One bundle plus another copy of Fallout 76. It's not good. Like the sales are so low, they're giving them away. And I just found that very interesting. Because if you remember, Bethesda put out a very floppy hair orange person quote and said that millions of people were playing Fallout 76. And I cannot see how millions of people are playing actively on an average Fallout 76. Battlefield 1 doesn't even have that, I don't think.
PR numbers are never accurate.
So maybe
They're always
altogether,
Always biased.
But this kind of leads me to my discussion. seeing the last few of the Inside Vaults, like this past last lackluster patch, do you guys feel like Bethesda's kind of lost touch with the Fallout fan base for Fallout 76 and in Fallout in general?
Okay, Shalene, why don't you go first?
I don't think so at all.
Really?
I think they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They know how some of these things are going to be received, you know. They knew when they put out, you know, the leather jacket for the vault jacket with that comes with a garment bag. They knew that their comments were going to be flooded with canvas bag jokes. They knew that. They're not stupid. But they are making the decisions. They're making their business decisions, you know. And I think Bethesda as a publisher, Bethesda the publisher, not Bethesda Game Studios, has grown so big, so fast, that the people who are making these decisions in terms of marketing and PR, they're very far away from the guys that are coding the video game for us.
Sure.
And I think there's not as much conversation going on as there should be.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that we are seeing this game represented as a Bethesda Game Studios product, but Bethesda Game Studios does not mean the same thing that it did 5 years ago.
That's true.
This game is you know, officially it's being made by Bethesda Game Studios, but really it's being made by the Battlecry guys. You know, it's these are not people that their game was shuttered. You know, the one game that they had never came to fruition. And I'm sure that they are receiving a ton of guidance from Bethesda Game Studios Prime, but
Sure.
I think it's a gross misrepresentation to consider this a Bethesda Game Studios game.
Sure. You're right on that. I kind of was thinking over the past Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, and thinking of the way those were set up, and you had Fallout 3 and then New Vegas, and Fallout 4 was such a deviation from those games.
It really set a new height in the bar for sure.
It did, but it also kind of, I think, you know, I was thinking about this a lot because I was reading a thread that a friend of mine posted about his second playthrough and how a lot of issues were very glaring and in his face with Fallout 4, and it kind of made me like a little bit more retrospective on it. And he's right. You know, the dialogue was so watered down. And the story was watered down. The combat was awesome. The building was fun. I really enjoyed the building. I wish it wasn't as integral as it was. You know, the role-playing was kind of degraded in Fallout 4. And I just feel like if you look at Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, even 1 and 2, and then you see Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, they're so far away from what brought us all in to the game. Because it was a lot of different things. It was the dialogue, it was the comedy, it was the weird situational storytelling that we do see in Fallout 76. And I was just thinking about this, and I don't necessarily agree that it's lost touch. I mean, I'd been seeing people ask this in Reddit and stuff. I don't think they've lost touch. I think maybe what they've done is took their eye off the ball a little bit. Maybe they're they're playing very loose with a very passionate fan base. And I don't think they've lost touch. I just think they're playing a little wild with their cards. Does that make sense?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
You mention the very passionate fan base that they've maybe lost touch with. They're not making this game for us, guys. Most AAA huge budget games are not made for us, the hardcore gamer. They want to sell as many of these as possible, and there's not that many of us that are this dedicated, you know, to the medium. I really think they're not making this game for us. This game is if you want to make money making your video game, you're going to aim it to casuals. You want You want as many people as possible playing your game. You don't want to target a small audience.
Okay, you're right. But I'll disagree in the sense that Fallout 3 is what exploded Bethesda and Fallout to the world. And how hardcore that was.
See, I'd argue that Fallout 4 is the game that brought it to the world.
Right, but it was all because of Fallout 3. Because Fallout 3 was such a huge game that kind of came out of left field from an IP that nobody really, not that nobody really cared about, but it wasn't very well known. I'm just saying that, like, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas set up the precedent for Fallout 4. If Fallout 4 took it out to a new level. So I'm just saying that if they kind of implemented some of those things that really made Fallout 3 and New Vegas endearing, like the dialogue, for instance, and just the some of that stuff, like, you know, I don't know. It was just a thought that I had. I mean, because of the patch, the reason I wanted to talk about it was because of the patch and how they're like, two things. That's what we're going to do for February. Whereas my game is still a slideshow.
Yeah.
And, you know, what am I supposed to do with that? You know, I want to play it, but I can't. I'm playing it 24 frames or less. So, I don't know. It was just a thought that I had been seeing. And the Reddit subreddit is the most toxic place that you could ever go to get opinions on Fallout. I mean, it's just like, it's pretty pathetic, but,
The Fallout fandom can be vicious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And Vendor, what you were saying, people were always looking for a reason to crucify this game. It's just the problem was Bethesda gave them 100 instead of just 25. But I don't think they've lost touch. It was just something I wanted to get your guys' opinion on. Vendor, you've been silent during this whole segment.
I've just been waiting for the moment.
The spotlight's for you.
You guys know me. I like to take a relatively objective standpoint on most things, and be kind of pragmatic. But I gotta agree with you, Shalene. I think something that does affect Bethesda is how they're seen as a whole, and it's a big reason why people are now saying the company is bad overall. And Fallout 76 is not a good game. It's not a good product. One bad product doesn't define a company, but it is so stinking obvious that this whole endeavor, this entire project, is driven by people who are detached from the gaming community and the development of the game itself.
I agree with that.
Financial interest is the only, or maybe not the only, that's a little too definitive. Financial interest is the biggest driver of this game. And that's why we're seeing such a huge disconnect. And what's happening now is Bethesda is scrambling to try and meet the demands of its consumers, and they're not able to do that effectively. Because at the top, at the head of the snake, it's still people that are driven by money. And it goes back to the whole thing about how Bethesda grew too fast, too quick, right? At the end of the day, there are people that work for this company. There are people that go to work there every day, and they have families and children, and they have to pay their bills, and they've got debt, and they're just trying to make it in life like the rest of us. And really what Bethesda is doing is trying to pay their employees. They're trying to find a way that they can keep their employees employed. And I think that they didn't have, when Fallout 4 came and went, they didn't have any new ideas. And the clock was ticking, and they still didn't have any new ideas. So let's say maybe instead of reinventing or inventing a new wheel, let's avoid reinventing the wheel and take what we've already done and make it better in some way or form. Let's innovate on that. And I think that's what really spurred this whole online platform. And I don't know, I think they missed it this time around. And I'm curious to see what the next product that's going to come from them will be. And it's going to make it even more difficult for them to, get the buy-in from the community. But who knows? I don't know. It's wishy-washy. Like, people follow blindly. So they could put out another terrible game and people would buy it. And they know that. That's why they put out terrible, terrible jackets, because people will buy it. And at the end of the day, it's about money. You know? So
yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true. Well, two things. One is, I certainly think that the next Fallout installment will make or break the franchise. Not Bethesda, but it will make or break the franchise. And if it breaks it, like if Fallout 6 or whatever comes next is awful, I could certainly see that IP being sold off. What?
Fallout 5.
5? See, I can't remember. But
If you've lost count,
I was thinking
they've
Elder
made too
Scrolls.
many, it's time to move on to
Fallout
the next
5.
thing.
If Fallout 5 or whatever the next
Apparently
installment
Apple
sucks,
still hasn't caught on to that
77,
yet.
and we just skipped
right?
71 Fallout.
I could if it bombs, I could see that IP being sold off. If it does good, then obviously it'll save the franchise. Second thing I'll say is honestly, this is all Shalene's fault, by the way.
Is it really?
Yes, because do you realize that she was half of the profits from Fallout Shelter, and Fallout Shelter
Right.
is exactly why
All those
Bethesda's doing all this?
microtransactions.
Because they're like, oh my goodness, we made so much money from Fallout Shelter, we could do this with another.
She totally.
Uh-huh.
It's
And all
Shalene's
the
fault.
merch,
Skewed
too.
the-
I'm
skewed the
wearing
curve.
the doom of
Do you-
Fallout.
Look behind her.
Skewed all the data.
She's got the Nuka-Cola fridge with the Nuka-Cola thing and the dog meat and the Pit Boy and the.
Quantum the only thing you're missing
Oh,
is the
man.
bedspread. Or are those stim? Is that like a stim pack
Yes,
bedspread?
these are little stim packs here.
All Shalene's fault.
Oh, gracious. Okay, so send your hate mail to info@wejustlovegames.com.
You done messed up,
Um,
Shalene.
But I really do, I do want to say a couple of more things before we abandon this topic. I think that Bethesda misrepresented some things.
Oh yeah.
I think that the trailer, the initial reveal trailer that they showed us was a bad choice because it represented what we're used to seeing in Fallout. And they needed to tell us from the very first moment that this is a different thing. This is not Fallout 5. It's not Fallout 4 New Vegas. It's something totally different, totally unlike anything Fallout has done before. Do not expect the same thing that you're used to. I think that was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, they tried to clarify it later and it did not work.
They let us get hyped first before they changed that expectation, and I think that angered a lot of gamers. And I'd also like to just point out, just remember, guys, remember the history of this franchise. You know, a lot of people are out there saying that Fallout 76 is going to kill the franchise, and I personally I find a lot to love about Fallout 76. You know, I want it to run better, but there's the game itself I like. But I do want to say that we need to look back to the history of the franchise. You know, Fallout Tactics was not as well received as some of the other Fallouts.
True.
There was that horrible Xbox one, Brotherhood of
Steel.
Fallout
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Steel. That one was terrible. That didn't kill the franchise. Nothing's going to kill this franchise.
No.
And Fallout 3 was a huge departure from previous Fallouts. Huge departure. Lots of original Fallout fans hated Fallout 3 and continue to hate the Bethesda Fallouts.
For going first person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and not just for going first person, but for changing things and making them more accessible. You know, we say casual, that also means accessible. And
Yeah.
and
You bring up some really good points. I totally hear what you're saying there, and it makes sense. Yeah.
I just think it's important that we not get so gloomy in our outlook here. And also we need to remember what a freaking disaster Fallout New Vegas was for 6 months.
Well, and you know,
that's
let's
I didn't get it in
forward. Let's fast forward through the future.
a
year from now. Right?
The DLC is amazing for Fallout 76.
Where are we going to be from a year from now? We're probably going to be playing Fallout 76 and loving it, because at that point the game will be optimized.
It could be.
Buckle up, sit tight, because it's not over yet, and it's gonna get good. People just got to be patient.
Yeah. Ben Yannick says, so many years passed between the old ones and 3. I can wait again if needed. Yeah.
I will admit that I'm on the pessimistic side of whether or not Fallout 76 can be saved. I also agree with Shalene in that nothing will destroy the franchise nothing will destroy Fallout's franchise. I was merely saying that the next Fallout installment will make or break it for Bethesda as the owner and rights holder of the franchise, not for the Fallout franchise in itself.
Mhm.
If they make it that far.
They'll make another one.
I think we're also forgetting that there are a ton of people out there who do love Fallout 76.
Yeah.
They're just not as noisy. You know, they're not making as much noise.
It's because they're playing the game.
Exactly. They're having the time of their lives. There are a lot of people out there that this game has an audience.
I, for one, have been a huge defender of the story of the main quest in this game. I have been defending no NPCs because I know it's temporary. They're not going to just not have NPCs forever. It's just the start of it. You know, so I, for one, think that whole thing is a breath of fresh air. I'm merely upset about the performance issues. Yeah. And so wrapping this all up with a big blue and yellow bow.
Oh boy.
Bethesda has not lost touch with its fan base. Bethesda's uppers have lost touch with its developers and PR. That's what I think happened. They've lost touch internally, but not externally. So, anyways.
Yeah. That was a great discussion. I really enjoyed that.
Ooh, I'm exhausted.
Well, that's what the show's about. We should be discussing, you know. Not disgusting. We should be discussing.
Well, we're both, so.
You know.
100% we did it. Goal achieved.
You know what else is disgusting? My gameplay for this week.
Oh boy.
No!
I didn't do crap, vendor.
I didn't do crap, Shalene.
Well, I did some crap.
Save us.
So let's just go right into that, shall we? I had a great week playing Fallout 76, you guys. I had a good time. So I played on my Xbox. I picked up my Xbox character, and I had multiple server disconnects. It was playable though. It wasn't constant like it had been for a while. So it was infrequent enough that I was able to enjoy myself, which was definitely a good thing. I decided to try and progress with my Fire Breathers quest. And you guys may remember a few weeks ago, I had tried to do the Fire Breathers quest and I was like level 14 and I got attacked by a bunch of level 30, 35 Scorched, and it was a total disaster. And I had to run away. Well, I decided the time was right. I was going to take this Fire Breathers quest. I really wanted the fireman suit. I had seen, I think, Rick wearing the fireman suit. And
I now have the fireman suit, and it's glorious.
Isn't it great?
It's so good.
Oh,
filled with
it's
asbestos.
the best. I love it.
I feel like such a badass.
You've been exposed to asbestos and have messages.
Yeah. You know what would make the fireman suit better is if you actually put out fires. Like you actually had to put out, like you had an extinguisher and you like.
That would be fun.
That'd be cool.
That would be fun.
Anyways.
So I was like sneaking to the waypoint because I was so scared because my last experience had gone so poorly. So I'm sneaking along and I find this bar and I thought this bar is great. I want to go check out this bar. And it was full of super mutants, just riddled with super mutants. I was fighting them with a shotgun. I had a combat shotgun, I think. And that was what I had bullets for. So that's what I was using. And it was just, it was the best. I died like 6 times. It was so hard. And I was so scared getting through that, but I finally got through it. And I have learned that it is better to throw everything you've got at the enemies in this game now. Instead of trying to save things, it's just better to use the most powerful weapons you have. I was launching grenades and cryo grenades. That was really fun. Had a great time. And I didn't have any stim packs. My Xbox character has got 0 stim packs. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sneaking away from the bar. There was one guy left on the roof. I didn't want him to snipe me. And I found this campsite, somebody's camp. It was just a platform, and they had on the platform a bed and a stash box, a couple workbenches. I was like, this is an oasis in the desert. I'm so pleased to find this here. I was almost dead. I thought, I'm going to sleep in this bed. I'm going to scrap some stuff. I'm going to repair my gun because my gun had broken. I was using like, what was it that I had?
It's like
I think it was a sledgehammer.
slingshot.
I had a sledgehammer.
Oh no.
And
Had a potato gun.
it was bad. It was real bad, guys. And I creep up to this camp. I'm trying to repair things, use the stash, and I hear the super mutant noise. I hear them talking, and I'm like, oh gosh, oh no. And I turn around, and there's like 7 super mutants in the highway. And I do a little VATS to check, and they're very high level. And I was like, oh no. So I crouch behind the stash box. I'm hiding behind some guy's stash box at his camp at the bottom of the hill. Yes, I was like hiding behind it. And I was so scared, and they saw me. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to try and book it to discover this location at the mine so that I can go forward with this quest. So I just start sprinting up there. And they lost sight of me somewhere, which was great. That was really, really good. Very lucky. And I got to that little building at the top of the Belching Betty. And I go in there and I meet Bernie the robot. And I think that's just the most clever name for a fireman robot, Bernie. This was really cute. Really cute. So Bernie's adorable. And he gave me my fireman suit and a gun that does special damage to Scorched, which I was really excited about. And I went into the Belching Betty to go ahead and clear that quest. And the Belching Betty, was that not the name? The mine?
You're forgetting that I'm still have not explored all of this. So Belching Betty, I can't wait to go there.
So when you do the Fire Breathers quest, the final leg of the Fire Breathers quest is to go in a mine that's full of Scorched, and you go to the end of the mine and push a button and then come back. And that's the final exam to become a fire breather. And I think the mine is called Belching Betty. So I went into the Belching Betty, and this was the coolest location, you guys. I think it might be one of my favorite locations in all of the Fallout series.
Oh,
I felt about the Belching Betty almost as excited as I was at the Glowing Sea in Fallout 4. Everything is on fire in there. It's like you're inside Mount Doom.
It's like an episode of GameStack Podcast.
It's just like an episode of the show, but it's like being inside Mount Doom, and there's everything is on fire. And you see the scorched glowing eyes in the distance, and it's so good. It's very spooky location. Ah, gosh, I really enjoyed it. And I love the pistol that they give you to deal with the scorched. It's very, very good. Does extra damage on scorched. I was just rolling through there like a boss in my fireman suit. I felt so great about it. And there's a really cool bit of lore in the Belching Betty. Really cool lore. You can find this series of holotapes that follows this. You're finding this series of holotapes that follows the story of a squad of people that were trying to become fire breathers, just like you are.
I just imagine it's just a bunch of holotapes of this woman like belching, like that. But
it's interesting following their team dynamic, and you get down to the bottom, right? And I'm ready to hit the button. So I get to the bottom. I've fought my way through it. I'm very proud of myself. I feel really great about it. I'm fixing to hit the button. There's a holotape. I think, okay, I'm going to listen to the holotape before I hit the button. And I'm listening to the holotape, and the woman is talking to her companion, and they're the last survivors of their squad. And part of the way through, it's a long holotape. I start to get bored, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit the button. And I hit the button about the same time that the woman hits the button. And she asks her companion, so do you know what's going to happen when we hit this button? She's like, I don't know, but we'll face it together. And we both hit the button, right? And sirens go off.
Oh,
like
no.
loud klaxons, terrible sirens, and all these scorched run in the room. So there's like 10 scorched that run in the room. And previously, the scorched that I've been fighting are like level 6 to 13. I'm level 19.
And you still have the sledgehammer.
I have the sledgehammer, and I have the pistol that they gave me. I have like 6 bullets for that pistol.
This is not going to go
6
well.
bullets for that pistol.
Wow.
And the 10 or so scorched that run in the room are like level 30 to 40. It was really scary. It was a tough fight by myself in there. I felt like this was one of the moments when you need a team to really survive it. But I did get through that thanks to lots of chems and a little willpower and some very skillful backwards running skills.
Can-do
I
attitude.
I prevailed. And that was a lot of fun. I headed to the top of the world to continue the storyline. I really want to finish the story. None of the storyline has really been spoiled for me, which is really surprising considering, that people are constantly tweeting at us their Fallout experience. So thanks, guys, for not spoiling the main story. And I want to get through it. I want to see what the story has to offer. So I went to the top of the world and started doing the Rose Quest. And I'm enjoying this game. I'm enjoying playing it. And I think part of the reason for that is that I've embraced a new play style. I'm taking drugs all the time. Rick is doing a little face palm.
No, I was laughing because raid leader Scummy McBall says Gandalf kills Dumbledore. I guess is a spoiler as a joke.
Oh dear!
I had a giggle. Doing a lot of drugs is just normal to me.
But I have so many drugs in my inventory, and the weight is such an issue that I'm always on a Kim now. Like I used to save it for a fight.
I gotta take Constant Psycho because if not, I can't walk anywhere, guys.
Exactly.
I mean, logically, I gotta just keep slamming drugs into my arm.
So I'm working on always having buffs. I read the magazines, I use the bobbleheads because I can't afford to have that weight. And I'm somebody who, in a video game, I find a power weapon, I save it for later. I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that someday. But now that we have this weight issue,
right,
I'm just pulling out all the stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use the most powerful thing I have right when I find it. And it's really kind of fun. It's kind of fun to actually use this stuff instead of just hang on to it.
Putting it in a glass box and never touching it again.
Just looking at it, I would admire it. And I've had a lot of fun. The game itself I enjoy. I just wish that it was more stable and reliable.
I kind of do the same thing where I'll find a gun and then set up camp or whatever and decide to go on an adventure, and I'll limit myself to picking a single weapon or like a single rifle and then like a hand shooter or something.
Whatever has the most ammo.
That's it. That's all you get. That's all you get. If you die, you die. And it's really fun because you get, you force yourself to try different weapons, and it's a good tactic.
I wish you both had watched Spinal Tap because.
Oh, I've seen Spinal Tap.
Oh, have you? Because the whole saving thing reminds me of when he's showing him all of his guitars. He's like, "Look at this one over here. Like, just listen." Well, I don't hear anything. Well, you would if I were playing it. Well, don't look at it. Don't even touch it. Let's move on. Like it was, like it reminds me of that. Like I got a Merv Fat Man. Look at it. Don't look at it. Don't even look at it. Don't even touch it.
I've never been one for keeping things in cases. like when you get like a bobblehead and then you keep it in the box or something.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys are like that.
Not in real life, but
Not
in
in real
game
life.
mode. Well, obviously, I mean behind Shalene.
Mm.
But well, no, I think we were the last Resident Evil stream. As Claire, I found a grenade launcher and I was like, I better put that in the stash and not use it at all. And I realized that's where it comes from for me. Like us older gamers, it comes from playing those hard games where you're like, I know there will be a boss. I shall not use the 2 shotgun shells I have just picked up because I will need those.
And that's where we get back to those survival routes in Fallout that I've missed. I think we've been a little bit spoiled.
Yeah. So
I think we've been a little bit spoiled. I remember playing New Vegas in hardcore mode and being like, oh my God, is that a bullet on the ground? Can I pick that up? I need 1 more bullet. That'll make 8 bullets.
And 76 is a hard game.
Yeah,
like it goes back to some of those old gameplay sensibilities of you need to have a strategy sometimes before you go into a place. And that's something that the game does right, in my opinion. It
is funny how that game is made for the masses, but absolutely plays back into the hardcore settings. Like, Resident Evil, you've got, when you start, you have 8 inventory slots. Could you imagine you can only hold 8 things in Fallout? Could you imagine that?
That'd be like all of my bobby pins.
Yeah. So like
that's it. I'd be like throwing bobbing pins at Scorch Beasts.
So like yeah, this Fallout 76 is Fallout on survival. You've skipped past normal and hard. You're on survival mode, man. And it just makes me think that maybe Fallout 76 doesn't have an inventory problem. Maybe we have an inventory problem.
I'm telling you, it's a social experiment. The whole thing is one big social experiment, you guys.
Maybe it's us, not Fallout 76. Maybe it's us.
Oh, man.
Well, anyways, that sounds like some really great gameplay, Shalene.
I had so much fun playing Fallout 76 this week, and I still did have multiple server disconnects, which is unacceptable. But they were infrequent enough that I was able to enjoy myself. So
I do have to say that mine that you were in was where Joseph Tao saved my butt. He noticed I was
really?
Yeah, he noticed I was on and he heard the and he's like
scary, huh?
Always to the rescue.
He's like, I gotta go get him. And he's right, because I'm like, I'm shooting and I'm dying.
It was very scary.
And he got me.
I'm shocked that I made it through that without a death.
And I didn't even realize it was him. I'm like shooting and falling back, and I was having the same problem that you were, but I didn't have any. I don't take drugs. I live a clean life.
Oh, well, some of us are so high and mighty.
Yeah, take the high road. Meanwhile, I'm just going to take some jet.
Yes, you take the high road, and I'll take them.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to have like a IRL intervention. Or
yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
But,
I still say my best time so far in Fallout 76 was the time that Shalene and I got trapped in those cabins in the woods with the rad scorpion.
Yeah. That was maybe some of my favorite multiplayer gaming.
I have not been able to top that yet.
That was good.
Oh, man. Speaking of challenges.
I was going to say, yeah, Fallout 76 is certainly a challenge when you're playing solo, and sometimes when you're playing with people. But, man, they just offered this to us on a silver platter. Killing a Wendigo in a clown costume is not only a challenge in the game, it's also a challenge on the show. And apparently it's so challenging, only 3 of you rose to the challenge.
The real challenge is finding the clown costume.
Well, and a Wendigo, I've only seen 1 in the game.
Oh, I've seen multiple.
No, I saw 2, but you guys killed it before I even saw it. So
scary. You just saw the dead body.
Right, I did. It was really gross. It had growths on it.
It was yucky.
But let's go to our challenge here. All right, this one's from Captain Bones. It looks like a glowing Wendigo.
Yeah. That's like the same one we ran into that one.
It is the same one that we fought together.
Yeah.
It's like
he's looking rather dapper.
It's trying to get a high five. Yeah. He's looking longingly into the distance.
I always love Captain Bones submissions. They're always so good. Especially his GTA ones.
I know.
With the game stack. Oh, I love them.
This next one I think is Pantagruelia, if I'm not mistaken.
Pantagruelia.
I'm gonna check real quick.
Yeah.
Is that a body in the background? Oh, she's sitting
That's
there.
her.
No, that's
Yeah.
Drolshanka.
Yeah.
That's Drolshanka. I'm sorry.
Oh, Droshanka.
Okay, that's Drolshanka.
That's Drolshanka. It's, again, sitting there like, yeah, I did that. You know, all
Just
high and mighty,
reclining, all relaxed.
leaning up against the
Dead.
wall.
The dead
Yeah.
Wendigo.
I'm
Yeah,
really
dead
glad
Wendigo.
that they didn't make the clown outfit like really like clowny. You know what I mean? Because like I have this like phobia of clowns, but that clown outfit is not so bad.
Did you see the? Well, let's get. I'll tell you after this. But and the next one is Pantagruelia. It looks like they're.
Oh, I remember this.
they
This
had a
was
team.
amazing.
Oh, this is great.
And they're all three in the clown suits, standing above the dead
Wow.
Wendigo,
That's great. I
And they
like,
have
doing the
the-
hands on the hips pose.
They have
Yeah.
the clown shoes.
I like how the neck on the clown outfit like glows onto their
does.
faces.
It
That's weird.
does.
Is it like irradiated or
It-
something?
Light reflecting, maybe.
Yeah. I'm not sure what is actually creepier, the Wendigo or the clown suits.
Right?
That's true. And thank you all three of you for submitting to our challenge. We haven't done it yet. I haven't found a clown suit. So,
Yeah.
It was funny that they put that as a challenge in the game, and that was absolutely like something that we would do.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Totally.
We should probably keep track of the challenges that they post and just use
Mhm.
them on the show.
Yeah.
vendor, did
Thanks for writing the show for us, Bethesda.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
you guys see the you guys familiar with this streamer? Oh crap, he's got the mustache and sunglasses.
Pay money, Wubby.
No, no. Dr. Disrespect.
Right.
Oh.
All right. He's playing PUBG and he goes up in the attic of this house and like he opens this door and there happens to be someone standing right on the other side of the door with the
Yikes.
crowbar in a creepy clown mask and clown costume.
Yeah.
And you just see him like obliterate that guy and then just like jump and go, "Oh." And he like stands there for a minute like, "Oh." You know, like the game just turned into a horror movie, you know?
Oh, I hate that.
And genuinely, that guy was just standing there, like waiting for someone to come through that door. But
That's great.
Jeez.
so next week's challenge, what is it? Do we have a challenge for next week?
We
I-
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
do.
What is it,
we
Shalene?
do.
Well, I thought it would be fun to do a build challenge. It's been a while since we've done a build challenge.
Oh,
So I thought it might be nice to show a little bit of wasteland hospitality. Let's design a comfy shelter for fellow vault dwellers, like maybe a motel room or something for fellow vault dwellers
Yeah.
to come and rest and recuperate from the horrors of Appalachia.
I have
like
one.
it.
I have one built already, so I'll take a picture. Well, if it's still standing, I don't know if it's gotten deleted, but
Yeah,
Um,
mine got all buggy and now I have to rebuild it.
I.
So how will people submit these challenges? What do they do if they want to be part of the TFS challenge?
Well, if you would like to submit a challenge, all you got to do is go to Twitter, include the hashtag TFS challenge, any snapshot of your lovely hotel room, and tweet at that Fallout Show. Please make sure that you include the TFS challenge hashtag handle because that's the way we search for the entries. And so if you don't include that, it might get missed.
it will
But
get
Make
missed.
sure you send that to us by at the latest the Thursday before the show, so that we can compile them the night before and be much prepared to show them.
Awesome. So
Indeed.
Gerfuffle in the chat is asking. He's saying, "I hope I don't miss my lore segment." And guess what we have coming up next, Mr. Gerfuffle? It's the weapon of the week. We're going to do the lore at the very end of the show. No, I'm kidding. Up next is the lore segment written by our very own Gerfuffle. This was done as a reward for the Carries Fund donation. So thank you again for donating, Mr. Gerfuffle. It meant a lot to us and meant even more to Carrie.
And we
Um,
hope you can still afford your tuition.
Yes. So, disclaimer: this was not written by us. This was written by a listener. There's
We are not responsible for any comments.
there is so much sex in this. It's terrible. No, I'm kidding.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
This lore segment is actually the NCR. It's all about the NCR Ranger veteran armor. And so I'm just gonna read how he's got it written here because I didn't proofread this or vet it
Me
or
either.
anything.
Oh, no.
So
Okay.
This is-
Gerfuffle we're talking about.
we're
You know
just-
this, right?
I know. The whole point of this is just letting our listeners go to town
Yeah.
and seeing. This
Okay.
is his secret audition. No, I'm kidding.
We're all in the PUBG van and Gerfuffle
Yeah.
is driving.
Just go, man. Just go.
So here we go. The signature armor of the elite New California Republic Rangers is actually exclusive to Rangers that have reached the milestone of 20 years of service under their belt. That's kind of crazy. I didn't know that. The armor set itself was utilized by the Nevada Desert Rangers until they were absorbed,
Absorbed, I think is what he means. Absorbed.
Molded into the NCR Rangers in 2271 under the Ranger Unification Treaty.
We
Furthermore,
should do an episode about the Ranger Unification Treaty.
we should.
Okay.
There's a lot
Yeah,
in that.
It's a good topic.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Furthermore, the armor was originally worn by select forces of the pre-war United States Marine Corps and the Los Angeles PD. I love how that's a reflection of real life. Well, the Marine Corps uses it. Obviously, we needed to patrol the civilian street population. The helmet consists of a rounded shell, which protects the head from incoming gunfire, while lamps on the right side of the helmet, including infrared and visible light projectors, provide illumination. Illuminati. The armored mask designed to be worn with the helmet is necessary to use the IR lamp due to the low-light optics integrated into the lenses. The mask also incorporates a locking mechanism to properly join it together with the helmet shell ear covers with membranes that do not inhibit wearing while maintaining its protective qualities and air filters. So this is like an all-in-one survival head mask thing. I wish, though, that you were able to use the infrared in the game. That would be
It
sick.
sounds like
That would be rad.
the ultimate gear to wear when you have a hangover. You know, you just like block out the world. You can see where you're going. Anyways, continue.
Some upgraded models also included communications gear and upgraded filtering, and presumably, I can't talk. Bulletproof chest piece, which is obviously not true because you get shot in the chest and it hurts. The signature coat and pants are not a part of the original set of riot gear, but were added by the Desert and NCR Rangers, which frankly was a great design choice. The trench coat, perfect.
Probably the best outfit in Fallout, in my opinion.
Oh, it totally is. It surpasses everything. It is.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. It looks
Yep.
so
cool.
It's so
so cool.
badass.
Yeah,
You know,
the
with
red eyes. Oh,
Ranger, the Ranger Sequoia pistol and that get up,
Mhm.
it's fantastic. Depending on the departments the armor was used by, the equipment varied in color and appearance, ranging from camouflage, which was from the USMC, to black and brown, riot gear and NCR Ranger combat armor. Multiple variants of this armor exist around the Mojave Wasteland. I have the hiccups.
oh,
I got
You
it.
okay there, buddy?
I'm good.
okay.
Okay.
Yep. No,
Maybe
I'm
I'll
good.
take weapon of the week then.
No, I'm good. So multiple variants of this armor exist around the Mojave Wasteland, including the NCR Ranger combat armor, which is found in the Ranger safe house and worn by veteran Rangers. The Desert Ranger armor, which is found in Stone's Bones Cave in the Zion National Park, and the advanced and elite riot gear sets found in the Divide. Of course, if you're looking for any particular set, you can find those locations on the Wikipedias that are around
And posted in our chat.
and posted in our chat. I loved this set of armor. I
Me
think
too.
I've said before that with New Vegas, I never wore power armor in New Vegas. It always ended up being this.
Well, the moment that I found this armor, I didn't wear anything else after that. I
Same.
finished the whole game in that outfit.
Yeah, I mean it was perfect. I mean it looked good. I mean it wasn't exactly lightweight,
Mhm.
but it wasn't as encumbersome as power armor was.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get power armor training.
It
In,
is.
in New Vegas.
I
It's
never
a
got
real
trained.
challenge. It bothers me. It bothers me in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 that you do not need power armor training. It bothers me.
I think though, minus your wife, for the guy it kind of makes sense because he was in the army.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, it kind of makes sense. But
And
for
I
the
did
wife,
hear an argument that maybe the female is like an army lawyer, or maybe she was a soldier previously and then became a lawyer after the war.
that's
Maybe
a
she's a
Those
Sin.
are
that's a stretch if I've ever
She's
heard
a
one.
Sin.
She's a sin.
hey. It's not a stretch. It's a reasonable theory. It's a good
Huh.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, there's another one of my points about Fallout 4 where it deviates away from some of the endearing qualities that we loved. And it just goes to show when you miss one little detail like that, how much it impacts us crazy gamers. Like
Oh,
how dare they give us power armor at the beginning of the game?
Okay, so raid leader Scummy McBalls says playing as a female should have flipped the script and made her the military personnel and him the lawyer. That's what I've been saying all along. I was that's what I've been saying.
That's
all
true. I
along.
didn't think about that. That would have been
Totally
good.
reasonable.
It is reasonable.
Totally reasonable.
But we don't know well, yeah, that's true. I guess by that time they would have let women in the military.
I guess the reason they did that is because the male voice actor always does the opening War Never Changes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that like they could have recorded Courtney Taylor doing it. I don't know.
I think this was during a time in video games where sensitivities like that were still not taken into consideration.
What, 2012?
Yep.
No, I think they just had a story in their heads and they went with it.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, Gerfuffle, thank you so much for writing the lore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was
you did
good.
a great job, Gerfuffle. I enjoyed it.
I had no
Yes.
idea that you had to be in the NCR for 20 years and then that's when you get the armor. That's a long time.
I was hoping that you would pick something from New Vegas.
Yeah, but that's a long time. Think about it. If you join when you're 20, you're 40 by the time you get
You
this
don't
armor.
get the belt. You don't get the belt till you're 40.
I'm just saying you're 40, and by that point you're like, can I be done now? I'm 40. I can't run like I used to. Now you're giving me heavier armor.
Yeah.
In the wasteland, 40 is like 80.
40
Right.
is like you're pushing daisies in
Yeah.
the wasteland if you're 40.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much for that lore. And keeping with the New Vegas theme, our weapon of the week. Fender, did you want to take it? I don't mind, but if you want to...
Sure. I don't mind at all.
There you
Our
go.
weapon of the week is the K9000 Cyberdog gun. Oh, yeah. It's actually a form of a cyberdog where a living dog's brain was put in a machine gun frame. Do you guys remember this?
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
remember-
Do.
Oh, it's
yeah.
the best.
He barks.
The
It was such a
K9000
weird...
uses .357 mag ammo, and it has two metal floppy dog ears and a sniffer mounted on the brain to monitor its surroundings. Isn't that great? The ears move faster if the gun is pointed in the direction of an enemy. It'll actually growl when you come in contact or you come around enemies to kind of notify you that enemies are nearby. And it whines when you put it away. Oh, it's probably one of the best. It has a telescopic sight and barrels reciprocate when firing. It also detects players outside of visual and perception range, which I always liked about that gun. And the weapon itself growls when enemies are detected, as we mentioned, but it has two mods. One, Mentat Chow.
For
It
Shalene.
increases the fire rate by 40%. And Resla oil, which increases damage by 2. Is it Resla? Riesla?
Resla.
Resla.
Sure.
There is one variant of the K9000. We call it Fido. How original. It fires .44 mag rounds, and it has a higher damage and a little bit more spread. So, what?
You're so Canadian.
I know. Deal with it.
0.44.
Yeah, .44 rounds.
44 mag? And 357.
Okay, there's the weapon of the week. On to the emails.
Wait a sec. No, I wanted to talk about New Vegas real quick. I've been thinking a lot about this show and gameplay going forward, and I'm having a hard time playing Fallout 76 due to technical limitations, and I can't seem to get back into Fallout 4. And as I was doing the lore for next week and the weapon this week, I was like, man, New Vegas was just on another level. that game itself was just on a completely different level. And I decided that I'm going to try to come up with some sort of series of a playthrough for these shows. So that way every other week I'll have more progress in some sort of playthrough for this. So I think that would be fun to do. And plus I just love New Vegas, and I don't feel like I explored New Vegas enough.
What if we did like a game club and we all played certain quests together?
Listeners, viewers, hold on a second. All right, what do you mean? What?
Here we are planning the show on the show.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
where
you
are
know,
this
like,
is a side note.
if there's like a book club, Rick, and like, okay, this week we're gonna read chapters 1 and 2 and then talk about them. Except it would be a game club, and we'd be like, okay, this week we are gonna go to Dead Money and do the first opening section of Dead Money.
So scary.
And we'll meet back here and talk about it.
I vote we take this conversation to our Discord and get people to weigh in there.
All right, see you
And
guys.
help us make
Just
the
kidding.
decision. Yeah, bye.
Yeah, let us know what you think about that. If we had some sort of game club revolving around the Fallout series, specifically New Vegas. So anyway, yeah, that'd be great. That's a good idea.
We all want to start with New Vegas.
New Vegas is so good.
That's so good. I want to get back to that New California mod. That was so good.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's the weapon of the week.
Emails. You want to take the first one, Shalene?
I do. Hello there, fellow Wastelanders. I have recently found that Fallout show on Spotify and binged through all of it so I could start watching the episodes live. So maybe I can participate in the challenges and the chat. Yes, Spotify, you're very smart. No, shut up.
Spotify.
I will start off with saying that I love Fallout for so many reasons, but the biggest reason is because it got me into video games. Fallout 4 was the first real video game I had played. I played bits and pieces of other games, but never got serious about any video game until Fallout 4. Before Fallout, I pretty much sucked at games, especially first-person shooters. I was that sort of player who got stuck on walls, shooting at the floor or the ceiling, and dying every 2 seconds. Just like us now, huh?
Quick question. Did you vet this?
No.
Awesome. Continue.
When I found out you could play Fallout 4 on super easy, I gave it a shot and learned how to play better. From there, I started getting into more video games, but Fallout is strong in my heart because it was my first. So in a way, you could say that Fallout 4 popped my video game Nuka Cherry. That's you read ahead, didn't you?
I did.
Fallout has become a fairly large part of my life, which is expressed through some much-loved merch, some simple hand-painted items I've done myself, and even a little bit of fanfic I've written. It seems I try to fit it in my life anywhere I can. I am just so in love with the world and find its place I can dive right into. Anyways, with that being said, I am a huge fan of your show and have to say I greatly appreciate your opinions and input on Fallout. I guess I am in the minority because I love 76. As previously stated, the Fallout world is a place I can dive right into, and I love that I can do that with friends now. How cool is that? It kind of sucks that so many people are hating all over the game, for all the wrong reasons, I might add. I just find the game fun and new and immersive in a way that previous games aren't. 76 just feels so raw and real, and I honestly really like that. I personally went into this game with an open mind and didn't compare it to previous Fallouts. I pretended like it was a brand new game, and I was not disappointed. So it's really great to have a show where there are similar-minded people who also just love Fallout for Fallout's sake. There's just too much hate, and it's so great to have you guys out there spreading some much-needed positivity. So thank you so much for that. I just really freaking love Fallout, and I love 76, and I wish everyone did. I have had some pretty awesome moments meeting total strangers, like one where I found out I have a neighbor of someone who had just so happened to build his camp right next to mine. We voice chatted and checked out each other's houses we've built. It's just so super cool. I love it. Anyways, I'm done gushing about how much I love Fallout. I just wanted to share with you that I love your show, and you guys always make me laugh. I hope you keep on doing what you're doing. See you in the wasteland. Mariah Christine, aka Massacre.
That's great.
I love that email.
Me too.
I always forget that some Fallout is always someone's first. You know, mine was 3.
Mine was 3.
Theirs was 4, you know, and it's a completely different perspective. And sometimes it's so hard, I think, for us 3 to remember that sometimes. You know, I can be a little hard on 76. You know, a lot of people in our chat are really hard on Fallout 76 sometimes. But it's not our first. I mean, it's such
the other thing about it too is that I think that we all perceive the game that we are introduced within the Fallout franchise from where we are in our lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I played Fallout 3 when I was like, I don't know, 16 or something.
Yeah.
18. And like I loved it. It was amazing. Myself today, I don't know what I would think of Fallout 3 if I played it for the first time.
So, and another thing, like something.
Another thing.
Another thing. But you know, the way that we view the ISOs as kind of hard to go back to, a little anachronistic. A lot of people that were introduced to the franchise with 4, they view 3 in New Vegas the very same way that we view Fallouts 1 and 2.
And honestly, you know, in the Game Informer interview, they asked those guys, are the older games really hard to go back to? And the guy's like, well, just because of the UI, it's difficult. And I would say the same thing for New Vegas and 3. The UI is just clunky. I mean, even in 4, it's still a bit clunkier, but it's more streamlined. It's nicer. But
like for me, like Fallout 3 and New Vegas was, if you wanted to just, you know, if you had ghouls attacking you and it just got too much, just whoop, pull up the Pip-Boy and everything's okay. And listen to the radio and it's fine, and go to the washroom, or, you know, come back to it when you're ready to come back to it.
I have a really hard time with not being able to pause online games. I just got myself wrecked last night playing the Division 2 beta by like trying to do inventory management in the bathroom. Yeah.
Well, anyways, this next email comes from Paul. They write in, greetings, Rick, Shalene, and Vendor. I hope this finds you well. I'm writing to you from the wannabe wastelands of Scotland. Firstly, I just want to say a huge thank you. I'm a massive fan of the show. I started listening as the hype train started to build up steam ahead of the release of Fallout 76, and your friendly, warm atmosphere and great chat has kept me hooked ever since. Time differences and whatnot make it tricky to catch you guys live or offer up anything in chat, but you are the saviors of my work commute. It has been really interesting following the troubled tale of Fallout 76 over the past couple months, with a fair amount of opinion from all corners of the internet being thrown onto the fire in Bethesda's hurried constructed camp. Anytime I mention I have the game to any of my friends, I am met with a look of disgust and confusion. For the sake of realism, please imagine the following questions being asked in angry Scottish accents.
Can we do it in angry Scottish accents?
So,
Rick?
Vendor, you do the first one. Shalene, you do the second. I'll do the third.
Why did you buy that?
Haven't you read the reviews?
I heard that's crap.
It's crap. Each time I return the same comment. You should play it. I play on PS4, and for the most part, I've been trouble-free. Don't get me wrong. I've had a couple of issues, the odd server disconnection, glitchy quests, and some good old-fashioned Bethesda batshit craziness.
There's our explicit tag again.
These have done little to damping my opinion on what is a fresh and interesting take on both Fallout and multiplayer in general. I remain hopeful that Bethesda will stick by the game and continue to improve on problems and develop new and interesting content, hopefully winning over doubters in the process. I don't know if it's just me, but I was surprised to see such negative press at the start of the game. But I think back to a lot of the pre-release press, and there seemed to be some noises coming out of Bethesda to try and damping expectation. Clearly, they were aware of the quality of the product they were about to release into the vault. There is no doubt Fallout 76 was released too early, but the web walk of shame that Fallout has been dragged through has been just mind-boggling. I feel that when you put Fallout 76 into Google, it will return 99.9991% bad press. But with there being so many people out there that are currently enjoying the game, is it just in our nature to love a rant of negativity over a peek into the light? I really just want to share my quick overview of the situation with you It would be interesting to get your views on the level of outcry regarding Fallout, and if you feel that the negative press Bethesda has received would put off other developers from trying out something new. Keep up the great work, and thank you once again, Paul Gilly201 from Scotland. And I think everything that he's saying, or they are saying here, is pretty much the essence of what we've captured earlier in our discussions. And he's not wrong, and I totally agree. I think Bethesda has the potential to be a great game. I enjoy playing it when I play it, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But again, it's the community thing, right? People want to find something to complain about. I don't know what that is. It's this phenomenon in the gaming community.
It's funny that
perfection is the enemy of the good, and if it's not perfect, it's not good. I don't know. It's terrible.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anyone here is a British Top Gear, or Grand Tour fan, and they talk about this kind of similar thing with cars. Like, they don't like. I mean, they enjoy perfect cars, but there's a reason why those aren't their favorite cars. Their favorite cars, they say, have flaws, like humans. Like, you love humans because they're humans. They have flaws. There's personality defects. That's why I love my Mini so much, because the check engine light is always on.
Oh, I have news on that score.
Oh, did you?
So guys, I bought this Mini, right? It's a 2019 Mini, brand new.
Mm-hmm.
The check engine light has been going on and off.
Yeah.
Well, the other day I get a letter in the mail from Mini Canada. There's a recall on the car. Some sort of emissions thing when you drive it in manual. Anyways, that's long story short. That's the reason.
So yeah, I think it's the same thing. Like, you can't have a perfect game, because then it just feels really sterile. You know, It's got to have some issues. And I think, again, that's why all those Bethesda games were so endearing to us, was because you walked into the strip with a hat on and all of a sudden the game crashed. And it's silly. It's fun. You know what I mean? Because it's just, whatever about it. The other thing I wanted to say, too, with the Scotland thing, there's this YouTuber that I watch called K-Mac. He does a lot of music, little funny music videos. Well, he had a Fallout 76 unboxing, and he opens up the box. He's from Scotland, by the way, because he has this whole bit where he explains why people never sing in a Scottish accent, and he ends the whole video by going, "Okay, now I'm gonna sing a song in a Scottish accent, and here we go." And he starts playing this really nice acoustic guitar riff. Then all of a sudden he just yells, he goes, "Freedom!" And it shows like the Braveheart fades in. So that was him singing in a Scottish accent. Anyway, he's funny like that. So he opens up the box, he pulls out Fallout 76's like case, and he like shakes it at the camera, and then he pulls out the styrofoam thing. He pulls out the helmet, pulls out the power armor helmet, and he puts that on. And the next scene is him playing Red Dead Redemption 2 with the power armor helmet on. So Scots are salty against
funny.
Fallout 76.
That's pretty funny.
So
That's rad.
We have one more email that's being edited right now as we speak. Are you
just simple typos?
Okay. Hi, Gallon guys. Right, yes, that makes sense. Hi, Gallon guys.
And Robot. Hello.
Robot. Hi, Gal, Guy, and Robot. I have been the Vault Dweller, Chosen One, Lone Wanderer, Courier, and Soul Survivor in the past 22 years. Now I'd love to play Fallout 76 with other listeners of TFS. My handle will survive. My handle is will survive since Fallout 1.
Isn't that great? Isn't that such a great username?
Oh, I
Yeah.
get it. Bill
I think we
survive.
have will survive in the Discord.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Aretha Franklin, Sorry. Continue.
I kid you not. I am and I'm online after 2200 Central European time, which is 1300/1600 Pacific Atlantic time, military time. If I have time to play, if you're a TFS fan and see me online, just invite me to your team. Try not to disconnect Bit Trash Riot. Oh, Bit Trash Riot, awesome. He's he's 50% of the collaboration of our intro to this show.
Song.
Yeah, Bit Trash Riot has done some work with Mr. G. No?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Collaborators, yeah.
So he's
Yeah, we
just
love
looking
Bit
for some
Trash.
people to play. Yeah,
He's
and
a very lovely human being.
yeah.
I don't know if Bit Trash is in the Discord. Do we?
I don't think
We
he
should
is.
send him a
We
personal
should.
invite. Yeah.
Bit Trash, if you're listening, send us a message if we don't remember to, and join our Discord, because there are definitely people who I think play together from our
Yes.
Discord.
Manic
So.
asks, what does he play on? I believe it's PC.
Yep. And I also want to throw out there that, we have space for people to converse and hang out in the Discord for Fallout 76 on PC, PS4, and Xbox. So if you want to
Voice
utilize
chat.
those voice channels, you're more than welcome to do so.
It's funny that Bit Trash Riot would be on PC, which is the master race. It's ironic. Anyway, do you have any closing remarks? Do we have any closing remarks? GameStack.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We do. We have a lot. Oh, we have
We
a
always
lot.
do.
We have a lot coming up.
Rick just scrolled to the next page.
No, I just forgot about what's coming up this weekend. So don't forget about GameStack, which is our other show that streams live Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. That'll be next week. And we have a lot to talk about next week. It's so much gaming has been happening in this
I'm so
world.
excited to play The Division and talk about it.
It's gonna be so good. I don't think there's an embargo on this one, is there?
No, there's not. You can stream it or anything.
So yeah, stay tuned for that next week on Sunday. Days of Our Life is Strange. This is the second stream of the current episode that's out, correct?
Yes.
It is the continuation of episode 2 of Days of Our Life is Strange. And it features the wonderful new intro that was vetted for us by who, Shalene?
Seder.
Nice.
Seder.
What time does that happen?
11?
Yes, I've got an afternoon meeting, so we got to start a little bit earlier. So we'll start at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, which I think is 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Awesome. So be looking forward to that on Sunday. And also on Sunday, we have the continuation of the Resident Evil 2 stream, which is going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. Will Claire make it out of the police station? Will we meet the famous Mr. X? Let's find out.
I'm already scared, Rick.
I am dealing with him with Leon, and it is just...
It's going to go badly, and we're going to die.
It's so stressful.
And I'm scared. Hey, I'm also going to be on an upcoming special episode of the Fallout Feed podcast.
Ooh.
Yes, the details are still top secret on that one. But watch the Fallout Feed. I believe it's going to go up Wednesday or Thursday. Very special episode, so check that out.
Awesome. And if you would like to get in contact with us, it's super, super easy, and we kind of always respond. And the way to do that is you can tweet at us, at That Fallout Show. You can tweet at the network at We Just Love Games, which is basically just GameStack's Twitter anyway. You can tweet at Rick McVick. You can tweet at Shalene L, and you can tweet at Vendertron at VendertronIn. That's all on Twitter. You can find us also on Facebook. Facebook.com/That Fallout Show, or groups/That Fallout Show, or Facebook.com/We Just Love Games, or groups/We Just Love Games. You can email us like our lovely listeners did tonight at info@WeJustLoveGames.com. You can like this video and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/We Just Love Games. That helps us out a lot. Our numbers keep growing there, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It makes me feel happy every time YouTube sends us that email saying, hey, this is how many minutes have been watched, and it's great to watch that number grow. So please do that. I'm sorry. I died for a second there. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher and on Spotify. If you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes with some words, we will shout you out at the beginning of whatever show you leave that 5-star review on. Particularly this one, That Fallout Show. We record live every other Friday at 6:30 Mountain, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time here at twitch.tv. Tuberculosis. Here at twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us tonight and listening to us on wherever you're listening to us on. And as always, Shalene, what's our last word? You're muted.
Nuclear protection on a budget.